Hi, I'm Jared Fry, General Manager of MedinaTV, and I want to welcome you to this year's edition of Candidates Forum.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Rinksmeyer, Executive Director of the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce, and we are once again pleased to partner with MedinaTV to bring you this voter education series.
The views expressed by the candidates in these forums are not those of MedinaTV or the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce.
All candidates in contested races were invited to participate. These interviews are meant to be informational without endorsement from MedinaTV or the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce. Please enjoy this year's Candidates Forum.
Joining us now in studio is candidate for Medina Municipal Clerk, Carol Brenstuhl. Carol, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me. I think this is great.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. And why don't you start off first and just tell the voters a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother. I work. I'm a tax accountant. I moved to Medina 22 years ago. With work with PricewaterhouseCoopers at the time. I'm originally from the East Coast, near the Poconos I grew up, worked in Philly, worked in New Jersey and New York City, handled, my forte is tax accounting now. I have a master's, I have my bachelor's and my master's in tax. I enjoy tax. I'm one of those people that enjoys tax.
So now, why don't you help inform the voters a little bit too? Medina Municipal Clerk, it's not something that a lot of people probably know a lot about. What exactly is that role?
That is, well, you'll be working, keeping the dockets in order for the judges, and with the judges' help, you know, their help. We also take and give people the paperwork that they need to fill out when they're coming in. It's all mine. It's like traffic violations, lawsuits that are under dollar amounts of like $5,000. You handle all of that. If there's a claim against somebody for not paying bills and it's lower, under that lower amount, we handle all of that stuff. You take the monies in, you keep track of that, of how it gets paid. The clerk is more of the business, not more, it is the business end. It would be like looking at something in a company, a corporation. This is the financial area of something.
So what drew you to run for this office?
I am a very organized person. You have to be, especially with taxes. I've handled audits and everything. I want to give back to my community. I believe we need to bring some integrity and more diversity to things. We need to get more women out here in Medina County. I truly believe women are really good at multitasking and handling lots of things. So I want to give back to my community. I want to be able to go in there and represent all my constituents. If I run for office and I win that office, that is my job. That is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to go out here and have you vote for me and I win this election and then, oh, another opportunity comes along and I'm going to drop this and go take another position. No, this is what I commit to, a 4-year term, and that's what I will give you unless something really drastic would happen to come up with a health issue or something like that. Otherwise, people are going to get me, and I will be there full time doing my job. Does not mean I don't think you can not depend on your employees that you have working for you. I believe I can, and I just enable them to learn and do more too, to strengthen what they're doing and their fortes are.
So what would you see as the biggest thing you would like to accomplish, or one of the main reasons, like I said, you mentioned before, what drove you to run for this office? What would you like to accomplish if elected?
to bring some change to Medina County, to get it more organized. Hopefully there's ways that I can find of cost savings, because that's very important for taxpayers. And if we can save money, let's do it, you know, let's do it.
Now, what about the working relationship? Obviously, you'd have the judge to deal with, and then the court proceedings. I guess, one, how do you handle that relationship with the judge and what his vision is for the court, and then the side you would have to handle?
You work together. You sit down, you talk, and you work together. I'm a big proponent, too, of communication. Communication is important. You can't go in and change something just automatically, you know. You go in, you feel your waters. Know what's going on, understand what's going on, sit and talk with all the people involved, and then share viewpoints of what we can see and envision for changes.
Now, in light of everything that's happened here during the pandemic, of course, it's been different times for different people that may bring them through the court system for whatever reason. You mentioned the different roles that the clerk looks after. I know financially, a lot of people are hard hit. Are you looking at any ways of addressing those, especially when people are dealing with fines or having to pay restitution for things?
Yeah, you look at that, and that's something that we would have to work with the judges too. Let's end the county, period. Let's look at it. What can we do to help people? Can we do something to help it so that maybe their payment gets stretched out a little more, or whatever we can do, and find ways. Are there grants or something out there that we don't know about through other organizations that can help people, and be able to give that information to people?
Now, how would you differentiate your role, if elected, the role itself, but you're also, the constituents are the ones that voted you in? How do you kind of bridge that gap between the constituents and yourself, especially it's a role a lot of people don't really know a lot about?
I think you go out and you have, on your own time, you have meetings. Go out, meet people, get a get-together where you can put it out there. Hey, I'm going to have this little get-together, whether it be, okay, I'm a member at the Medina Eagles. I can rent a room there and have people come in, have a gathering, ask questions, find out what we do. Listen to what their issues are too, and questions that they have. I think that's really important, to have that communication of, so people know what's going on. And I think it's important to get out there for people to find out, instead of just, oh, it's politics, this and that. I think it's important for people to find out what all of our elected officials do.
Now, as you look forward, there's a possibility, if elected, that you could be moving spaces in terms of the county courthouse project and the city partnering with the county there. What are your thoughts in regards to that project?
I can have a total debate of the 365. I can even do it with myself. And I think that's a real important thing to do, is that you get all your facts on it. Yes, I know, I will say there was a need for us to do something with the courthouse. I don't have all of the knowledge. I do know there were points on both sides. So I could see both ends of that. I do feel that needed. My mother-in-law worked for the clerk of courts, the county clerk of courts. I know there was asbestos in the old building. We need to be conscientious of people's health. That's important. The way prisoners were brought in was not always the safest way. We don't look at it like we have this problem here in Medina County, but there are those issues. There are people that are violent criminals. It can happen anywhere, you know. You need to keep people safe, and I see the point for it. Do I think there, at a time, there may be the need for additional space, and maybe we didn't look at that part totally? Yeah. But right now, this is where we're at. And so we have to work with this, and then work together is the most important thing. No one side is always right. That just doesn't exist in this world. There's good and bad on both sides. You have to work together, just like in a corporation when you're going through, let's say, an implementation for tax software. We have to look at how we're going to do that, all the ins and outs that, and parts and pieces that it's affecting, and find the best at that point. That's not to say it may not change later on.
And I think a good point you brought up there is relationships with people and trying to work in that middle ground. How do you see yourself handling situations like that, or maybe you have someone coming at you from an opposite viewpoint, or maybe disgruntled, or maybe upset with what's going on?
I'm not perfect, I won't say I am, but I try to always remember, respect that person's opinion, let them go, let them explain themselves, and then you come back with your points, and you do it in a diplomatic way. I will say, during the political arena that we've had in this country, I've had that experience where I've talked to people who are not on the same, don't share the same viewpoint I shared. But I did make, one time a gentleman, he was just real gung-ho, and I'm like, go ahead. I'm going to let you explain your review points. And I did. And then I did not interrupt him. I came to him and I said, okay, on your point on this is how I feel. He actually complimented me and said, you know what? You're the first person on the opposite side of the arena that it didn't feel was trying to attack me. And he said, and that made me not want to come in an attack mode to you. And I think that's what you have to do. We have to learn. We don't always share the same opinion. Again, as I said, you got to be open to that. It's the only way you accomplish things.
Yeah. We're talking with Carol Brenstuhl, the Medina Municipal Clerk, and we want to thank you for taking your time to answer questions from us, but I want to give you the opportunity, in case I missed anything or forgot to mention anything, that you could talk directly to the voters, whatever you'd like to say.
Okay. I will tell you, as I was explaining before, I'm here to represent all of you, not just a certain group, and that is what I will do. I will give you my honest day's work too, and no matter what the time of the day is, I will, if you come to me and I'm out somewhere and you run into me, you're free to ask me questions. Try not to attack, but ask a question, and even if I don't have the answer at that moment or can't answer you, I will take your name and your phone number, or I'll give you my name or my phone number, and you can call me at a later date, and I would answer your questions or try to help get you answers for what you need. What you see is what you get from me. I'm not here to pull shade or anything. You will get honesty from me. It may not always be what you absolutely want to hear, but I also respect that fact from you, and you're entitled to come back and say, well, I don't agree with that. Tell me why. Or maybe you can change this, Carol. I'm here for that. I want to represent all of you, and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Carol. Again, that's Carol Brenstuhl, Medina Municipal Clerk, up for election. And I want to thank you for taking part of the political process. I know it takes a lot for people to enter the arena, and we appreciate that. And I wish you the best of luck this November.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for your time.